Good morning. Let's begin our lesson. Let's demonstrate a presentation. Yes. Last lesson, we had the first part of the lesson, questions and answers. So we learned how questions were formed. As we said, in question formation, we make questions with tenses where there is an auxiliary verb, be, have, do, etc. And with modal verbs, should, must, by inverting the subject and the auxiliary and modal verb. With the present and past simple, we add the auxiliary verb do, does, and did before the subject. For example, do you know if the weather is fine tomorrow? Could you tell me what time the shop next door opens? And so on. So second, we often use negative questions to show surprise when we expect somebody to agree with us or to check whether something is true. Third, if a verb is normally followed by a preposition, talk about something, the preposition comes at the end of the question, not at the beginning. We often just use the question word and the preposition. For example, I'm thinking. What about? When, who, what, which is the subject of the question in the present or past simple. We don't use do, did. For example, who wrote this? Who helped you? Who came first? And so on. So we learned this question formation at our previous lesson. Now you had to show me your homeworks in the form of work video material. So let us demonstrate your video materials. Okay, let's start our new lesson. What can you see in the cartoon? And the second question, what will you do if you were in such a situation? How do you find job interview in some prestige companies? Now, let us read the first paragraph of the article and the questions, AG, interview questions. Interview questions, A. What do you usually do after a bad day at school? Second, what's your biggest weakness? Third, how would your enemy describe you? Fourth, you have 50 red and 50 blue balls. How could you divide these between two containers to give the maximum probability of picking one of the colors? What's the most selfish thing you have ever done? Next question. Are you a nice person? What on your CV is the closest thing to a lie? Now, we have read the articles, and let us read the article, all paragraphs of the article, and match the paragraphs of the article with these questions. Okay, Now, next activity. In this activity, you are going to match the words with their definitions. The first definition is a reaction based on feelings and emotions rather than thought and reason. What phrase matches with this definition? What do you think? Okay. Next activity. Look at some more genuine interview questions. Pay attention to the word genuine. What does this word mean? It means real questions, real life questions. What do you think they would tell you about the candidate and why? What would you do if you were one survivor in a plane crash? Second question. Who do you think would win in the fight between Spider-Man and Batman? Third, what did you have for breakfast today? Fourth, describe the color yellow to somebody who is blind. Fifth, how many people flew out of Chicago last year? And so on. Now, our next activity is about ordering the words to make sentences or questions. Here you have 4 lines of words. Your task is to make sentences or question sentences out of these words, using these words. Now, let's have a speaking activity. As you're sitting in 2 groups, the first group will be given these questions. Your task is choose 3 questions out of these 7 questions and ask them another group. Questions. Which one aspect of your personality would you change if you could, and why? Second, if you could have dinner with anyone from history, who would you choose? Third, if you were an animal, which animal would you be? Fourth, what kind of things make you angry? Fifth, which TV or film character would you most like to be? Sixth, what's the best decision you have ever made? Now, second group will be given such questions. Which 3 adjectives describe you best? If you were a car, what type of car would you be? Who do you most admire and why? If you could be a superhero, what would your superpowers be? Tell me something in your life that you are really proud of. If Hollywood will make a film about you, who would you like to see play the real role as you, the lead role as you? All right. Now, let's have a listening activity. Listen to 4 people talking about a strange person. So they were asked in an interview. And while listening, complete questions 1-4. Listen again and make notes in the rest of the chart. Thank you. Now, at the end of the lesson, I'm going to tell you your homework. Please, at home, invent a tough interview question of your own, which you think might tell you something about another person. Ask your question to as many other students as possible and answer theirs. Which questions do you think were the most interesting and why? This is your homework, and you can use these list of literatures at home while doing your homework. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.